Allah for having been guided to Islam. We're grateful to Allah for this endowment, which is the endowment that would enable us to enter paradise and to have mercy and to have the everlasting enjoyment in paradise. And we're grateful and thankful to Allah that we have been guided to have access to the knowledge of Ahl-Sunnah wal Jama'ah, because that is the only way that the individual, he can walk on the straight path, he can be guided, is by following the Prophet sallallahu virtue, and he gets that knowledge, and he would be able to follow the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So starting a new subject matter today, which is basically talking about the prophets, their attributes, what befits them, what doesn't befit them, and warning against certain things that have been attributed to them falsely, and so that the Muslim can be aware that these matters that have been falsely attributed to the prophets, even though some of them are widespread, that they are not true and that they are fabrications. So this is of great importance because it is a core essential of the Islamic creed to believe in the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to believe in Muhammadun Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and part of that is to believe about the impeccability of the prophets, to believe about the fact that the prophets are protected from blasphemy, enormous sins, and small abject sins. So any stories that have been fabricated about them that contradict that should be warned against. So we praise Allah Ta'ala greatly, and we admit and we confess the great endowment that Allah Ta'ala has upon us, that He has guided us, and that He has sent the prophets with the religion of Islam, that the prophets, they were sent as a mercy to this world, and they were sent, all of them were sent with Islam. And so all of the prophets, from the first of them, which is Prophet Adam alayhi salam, and the last of them, which is Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, they all were sent with Islam, with the same creed. The only difference among them would be in some of the revealed laws. So some of the revealed laws between the prophets, some of the revealed laws are different than others, but their creed is the same. So all the prophets came with Islam, walhamdulillah. And so the final prophet, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he is the most intelligent of us, and he is the one that is the best of the creations, and he has the best understanding, and he has the most knowledge. And the Prophet ﷺ was purified by Allah in his body and in his soul, and so he was clear and purified from any physical defect or from any character defect. And so our creed about the prophets alayhimus salatu wassalam, and our belief about them, it is an obligation that our creed about them be free of any defect. And it is an obligation that our belief about the prophets, that it be in line with what the Quran came with, so that there would be no deviation, and so that there would be no fabrication about the prophets, and so there would be no misguidance So the person would not stray from the correct belief in the prophets, and so he would be destroyed, yani, because he would be falling into blasphemy. It's the Kalimat al-Awliya link this Monday, so it's the same link as Kalimat al-Awliya. Yeah, but it's the same link. I'm using the one that says defending the chosen. That means that the link that you sent is not the right one. So alhamdulillah that we have to make, and it's an obligation that our creed be in line with what the Quran came with, so that our creed about the prophets can be correct. So it is an obligation upon us that we make so that we have the correct belief. So it is an obligation upon those who are accountable that they have the correct belief in the prophets, and that they have the correct belief in Allah, and that they have the correct belief in the angels, and in the revealed books, and in the final day, and in destiny, yani that everything that Allah Ta'ala, and everything that exists in this universe, Allah Ta'ala willed for it to occur, both good and evil. And we are obligated to know the attributes of the prophets, and we are obligated to know what is befitting to attribute to them, and what is the specialties, and things that are special, specific for the prophets, and which is what they came with. So the link that you set for the lesson is not the link that you sent out. The link that you sent me, I use that link. So now anybody who presses that link, I have to let them into the room. So Rhonda is in the room.
Can you do that as you go?
Yes, I can. I'm doing it. Naam, so the reason for that is because the Prophets alayhimus salatu wassalam, they are so important for the guidance of the human being. And so by following the Prophets and knowing about them, and knowing what is an obligation to be attributed to them, and knowing what does not befit them, then we would see the traces of that, the good results of that in the society. Because the prophets, they were sent to be followed. And so this is how the nations would have success, is that they would be in line with the teachings of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and so they would deal with society and any issues of society according to what the Prophets came with, alayhimus salatu wassalam. So this is the importance of knowing the correct creed, or having the correct creed about the Prophets, is that they guide the societies, they guide the people. So they would take the societies and the people from darkness to light. And they would take the societies and people from misguidance to guidance. And they would take the societies and people out of blasphemy and shirk to the light of al-Islam. So the call of all the prophets, alayhimus salatu wassalam, was to save the nations and to get rid of blasphemy and idol worship, and to purify the society and to eliminate corruption and chaos and conflict from amongst the people. And so there's many verses in the Quran that they are indicating this. Among them, the verse كان الناس أمة واحدة فبعث الله النبيين مبشرين ومنذرين وأنزل معهم الكتاب بالحق ليحكم بين الناس فيما اختلفوا فيه وما اختلف فيه إلا الذين أوتوه من بعد ما جاءتهم البينات بغيا بينهم فهدى الله الذين آمنوا لما اختلفوا فيه من الحق بإذنه والله يهدي من يشاء إلى صراط مستقيم. So this honorable ayah of the Quran indicates to us that the people from the time of our master Adam alayhi salam, and he is the first of the humans and the first of the prophets, those people were upon the guidance and they were upon the religion of Islam, the only correct religion, the only religion accepted by Allah Ta'ala. Then after Prophet Adam alayhi salam passed away, Allah Ta'ala revealed to Prophet Sheeth alayhi salam a new law, and obviously the same creed. And so the Prophet Sheeth, after Prophet Adam alayhi salam, he spread the teachings of Islam. And then after Sheeth, after Prophet Seth, it was our master Idris alayhi salam, Enoch. And up until that time, there was no blasphemy that had occurred among the people. Rather, all the human beings, they were Muslims. Then Iblis, the shaitan, he approached some people, obviously some people that were Muslims, and these people, they had previously, and their ancestors had previously built some statues upon the image of some righteous Muslims from the nation of Prophet Idris alayhi salam. And that was after Prophet Idris alayhi salam passed away. And so the generations, they followed one another. And then until there came a generation that they worshipped those statues besides Allah Ta'ala, wal-'iyadhu billah, they committed the first idol worship. And so after that, Allah Ta'ala, He sent the prophets as bearers of good news for those who believed and those who embraced Islam, and those who believed in Allah Ta'ala, the correct creed, the creed of Tanzih, and the creed of Tawheed. They were given the good news of paradise. And what does that mean? It means that the prophets, they came and they said to the people, whoever believes in the correct creed, then he will be granted paradise. Whoever believes in the message of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, of that particular prophet at that time, then he will be guaranteed paradise. So that was what the prophets did. And they were warners to those that decided to blaspheme, and those that decided to reject, and those that they took a path other than the path of truth. They were warned that they would be tortured in hellfire. And so our master Nuh, Prophet Noah alayhi salam, was the first prophet that was sent to the non-Muslims that had spread corruption throughout the earth. And so those people that originally worshipped the idols, after Prophet Idris alayhi salam passed away, by the involvement of the shaitan, and he came to them in an image in a certain way, and he lied to them and told them that their ancestors used to worship those idols. After Prophet Idris alayhi salam passed away, the devil, he came to those people and he told them that your ancestors used to worship those idols, and so they started worshiping it. And then idolatry basically spread throughout the earth. And so once that happened, Prophet Nuh alayhi salam, he was sent by Allah Ta'ala to call the people back to al-Islam. So that's a brief background of that. Then we say all of the prophets are Muslims. Al-Bukhari and Muslim and Ahmad and Ibn Hibban and others narrated that the Prophet ﷺ said, Al-Anbiya'u ikhwatul li'allat, dinuhum wahid wa ummahatuhum shatta. Meaning that the prophets, their creed is the same, and their revealed laws differ. And because some prophets, they received a certain set of laws, and then other prophets, they received a new set of laws that they were ordered to implement, and that they were no longer ordered to implement the previous law. So this is the meaning of the hadith, that all the prophets, they came with the same creed, all of them came with the religion of Islam. They all called the people to worship Allah only, and to not associate partners with Him, and to believe in the prophets. However, their revealed laws might differ. So some rules that were revealed to some of them were different than the rules that were revealed to others. And so this is something that has been confirmed through this hadith. And also the memorizers of the hadith, the Huffaz, they have concurred and confirmed that information when explaining those hadith. Al-Hafidh ibn Hajar, he said the basis, their deen, their creed is one, and it is the creed of Tawheed, although their laws differed. So this is a direct statement, a direct quote from one of the prominent scholars of Ahlul Sunnah about this case. So an example of that, of their rules differing, is that it was permissible during the law of Prophet Adam alayhi salam for the brother to marry his sister that was not his twin from the same pregnancy. Because Lady Eve, radiyallahu anha, she got pregnant 40 times. And in each pregnancy, she would be pregnant with a male and a female. Except one pregnancy where she was pregnant with only one male, which happened to be Prophet Sheeth, Prophet Seth alayhi salam. And so during the law, or the law that was revealed to Prophet Adam alayhi salam, it was forbidden for the brother from the same pregnancy to marry the twin from the same pregnancy. However, it was valid and permissible for the brother of one pregnancy to marry the sister of another pregnancy that wasn't the twin. But then this judgment was abrogated after the death of Prophet Adam alayhi salam, and so the new judgment that was revealed is that it is forbidden for the brother to marry his sister absolutely. Whether it was a twin from the same pregnancy or a sister from a separate pregnancy. So that's the difference. During the time of Prophet Adam alayhi salam, it was forbidden for a brother to marry his sister from the same pregnancy, but he could marry his sister from a separate pregnancy. And then after the death of Prophet Adam alayhi salam, the new judgment was revealed, which is that it's forbidden to marry any sister, whether it's from the same pregnancy or from a different pregnancy. Likewise, it was made obligatory in the revealed laws of some of the prophets, in the revealed laws of the children of Israel, the Israelites, like the law of Moses alayhi salam. They were obligated to pray twice a day, yani 2 prayers in the day and the night, yani 24 hours. And during the law, or in the revealed law, revealed to our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we're obligated to pray 5 daily prayers. Allah Ta'ala made it clear the meaning behind sending the prophets alayhimus salatu wassalam. In the ayah, رُسُلًا مُبَشِّرِينَ وَمُنذِرِينَ لِأَلَّا يَكُونَ لِلنَّاسِ عَلَى اللَّهِ حُجَّةٌ بَعْدَ الرُّسُلِ لِأَلَّا يَكُونَ لِلنَّاسِ عَلَى اللَّهِ حُجَّةٌ بَعْدَ الرُّسُلِ وَكَانَ اللَّهُ عَزِيزًا حَكِيمًا. So, among the wisdoms behind sending the prophets and the messengers to this earth, and it is so that the claim of an excuse would be taken away from the human beings. Because we know that if Allah had not sent the prophets and messengers, and Allah Ta'ala willed for the human beings to be accountable, to be held accountable for things like not praying and not fasting, and even if there was no way for them to figure it out, then Allah would not be unjust. He would not be unjust for that. However, Allah Ta'ala, He sent the prophets and the messengers to the earth as a mercy to the human beings, so that they can guide the humans and they can let the humans know what is the thing that Allah Ta'ala made an obligation upon the humans, so that they can obey. So they won't be able to say on Judgment Day, we didn't know what to do, we didn't know what the correct path was, we didn't know what was an obligation. So this is how the prophets, they are as a mercy for us to know what the right path is, so that no human can come on Judgment Day and say, we didn't know what the correct path was, etc. Likewise, Allah Ta'ala, He made the prophets saviors for the people from the darkness of ignorance and misguidance. Allah Ta'ala revealed, وَلَقَدْ أَرْسَلْنَا مُوسَى بِآيَاتِنَا أَنْ أَخْرِجْ قَوْمَكَ مِنَ الظُّلُمَاتِ إِلَى النُّورِ فَذَكِّرْهُمْ بِأَيَّامِ اللَّهِ إِنَّ فِي ذَلِكَ لَآيَاتٍ لِكُلِّ صَبَّارٍ شَكُورٍ. So again, in this ayah, it's made clear that the prophets, they were sent to save the people. And here specifically, the address is, it's referring to Prophet Musa alayhi salam, that he has been sent by Allah with miracles so that he can take the people that he was sent to from the darkness into the light, from blasphemy into Islam. So this is another proof for the wisdom behind the prophets being sent. Then indeed, certainly, the rectification of the hearts, it is by the hearts having the correct belief in Allah Ta'ala, and to be believers in and believing in whatever a prophet conveyed, that Muslim in his heart, he believes in it and he without a doubt knows that it's true. And also for the Muslim to believe in the names of Allah and His attributes and the rules that He revealed and the commandments, the orders, the obligations, and so that this this knowledge would result in that person implementing and then carrying out and fulfilling what Allah accepts. And also the person would leave out what Allah Ta'ala forbade and what Allah Ta'ala threatened with punishment. So the one who he wants to rectify his heart and he wants to fix his situation, he would learn what is necessary for him to learn among knowing the prophets and knowing the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and what he came with, and to accept that in their hearts and believe it wholeheartedly without a doubt, and obeying whatever he commanded with. Because indeed there is no path, there is no way to the everlasting enjoyment in paradise and to the success in this life and in the hereafter, except by following the prophets and the messengers. So it is by following the prophets and the messengers that the people of guidance, they are distinguished from the people of misguidance. And so how do we know if someone is among the people of guidance? We know it because they follow the prophets. How do we know that someone is among the people of misguidance? We know it because they don't follow the prophets. So the necessity for us, for the prophets, it is similar to the necessity of our souls needing a body. If our soul is not in our body, then we're dead. And so just like it's necessary for our souls to be in our body, for us to consider to be alive, for us to be considered to be alive, then likewise, the one who wants to be considered to be guided and following the correct path, then it's necessary for him to follow the prophets. So what a great necessity that is. And know that the necessity of the slave and his need to the prophets is greater than his necessity and his need for things like food and drink. Because the one who he follows the prophets and he'll be guided, and so whatever happens to him in this world, if it's a difficulty or calamity, and he'll pass through it, is temporary, and then he'll go into the hereafter as someone who is guided, and he'll have the everlasting enjoyment. So it's better that instead of having, let's say, a worldly matter, he had the guidance from Allah Ta'ala, and he followed a prophet perfectly, or he followed a prophet in the creed. So there's no doubt that the one who, let's say, he has worldly material things, but he does not have the guidance, and he doesn't follow a prophet, then this person is worse off. This person is worse off. Because the result of not following a prophet is the torture in hellfire. And the result of not following a prophet is being astray, not being on the correct path. And being astray leads to pain and suffering everlastingly in the hereafter. And so since the job and the duty and the mission of the prophets ﷺ is spreading the correct creed, so for us, this objective, it would not be completed except if we had the correct creed about the prophets and we elevated them to the degree and the status that the religion has elevated them to, and that we don't say about them something that is not true, and we don't believe about them something that negates the office of prophethood. So Allah Ta'ala revealed, Allahu yastafi min al-malaikati rusula wa min al-nas. Inna Allah sami'un basir. Allahu yastafi min al-malaikati rusula wa min al-nas. Inna Allah sami'un basir. So in this ayah, it's explicit that the prophets, the messengers, that they are chosen from among the people. So the fact that they're chosen, it means that they are given as a special status. And so these ayat are showing that they have a special status. And Allah Ta'ala revealed in the Quran, وَجَعَلْنَاهُمْ أَئِمَّةً يَهْدُونَ بِأَمْرِنَا وَأَوْحَيْنَا إِلَيْهِمْ فِعْلَ الْخَيْرَاتِ وَإِقَامِ الصَّلَاةِ وَإِيتَاءَ الزَّكَاةِ وَكَانُوا لَنَا عَابِدِينَ. So again, this ayah, and it's showing the virtue that the prophets have. Allah Ta'ala revealed what means that He made the prophets as leaders, that they guide by the order of Allah. And Allah revealed to them the order to do the good things, and to consistently do the prayer, and to pay the zakah, and that they are worshipful slaves of Allah. So Allah Ta'ala is exalted beyond choosing someone to be, let's say, a prophet or a messenger, and the trust of conveying the revelation in other than a suitable person. And so the point that we're making here is, and if someone attributes, let's say, lying to a prophet, or attributes something like an enormous sin to a prophet, or something vile to a prophet, then it's as if they're saying that God is foolish for choosing that person to be a messenger, to be a carrier of the message. And so these ayat, they're showing us that Allah Ta'ala chose them, bestowed upon those prophets this specialty. And that this specialty, it requires, for that one who is chosen to have these special attributes. And so if someone were to attribute to a prophet something that is not befitting, something that negates the office of prophethood, is as if they're saying that God is foolish for choosing that person. Because, for example, one example that the sheikhs give is, if a person claims that a prophet lied, or that a prophet told a lie, and we're saying, or they're saying, or they believe that Allah chose that person to be a carrier of the message. So the one who chooses a liar to carry their message, then he would be judged, let's say amongst ourselves, if someone chose a liar to be a messenger for them, then they would be foolish, they would not be wise. So for someone to say that about Allah, obviously is blasphemy. So that's why if someone believes any of those not befitting matters about a prophet, it's as if they're saying that God is foolish for choosing that person. Now we say all the prophets, they are impeccable. Among what there is no doubt about it, for the sound mind, is that Allah Ta'ala is the most wise. And it is impossible for Him to choose men to be prophets that they would be repelling to the people, or that the people would look down on them, or that the hearts of the people would judge them as subpar or inadequate. Yani, the prophets, as you know, they don't have anything about them that is repelling to the people. And one of the wisdoms behind that is, since they were chosen to deliver the message, there's nothing about them that would make the eyes of the people look down on them or be something that they would look at as below with their eye. And also the prophets, they would not have anything that would make the hearts of a person look at it like it's below or low. So for example, the etiquettes of the prophets, they're the highest. So for example, if someone witnesses the etiquettes of a prophet, they would say, that's a great character. That person is so polite. That person has such good manners. That person is so humble. That person is so generous. That's what the people, when they witness the character of the prophets, that's what they would feel inside, and that's what they would think in their heart. So the opposite would never occur. So the prophets, they wouldn't be equipped or attributed with something that would make the heart of the person say, what a low attribute, what an ugly attribute, what an unbefitting thing. So this is why it's important to understand that the prophets, they are impeccable, that they have been attributed with the physical and characteristics, internal characteristics that make the hearts of the people hold them in high regard. Because this is essential for the ease, to make it easy also for the person to believe what the prophets are saying. Because essentially the prophets are coming to the people and telling them, this is the message from God. So if there was anything about that prophet physically or in character that would make the person repelled and would make the person think, oh, that's a low character, that's an ugly character, it would make the person reject that message. And so this is the wisdom behind the fact that Allah Ta'ala sent the prophets alayhimus salatu wassalam with the best lineage amongst their people and free from any physical defect like deformation, like for example having a limp or having a speech impediment like stuttering or lisping, or for example like having any deformity, physical deformity. And Allah Ta'ala, He gave them the highest level of the characteristics of chivalry, manliness, bravery, honesty, confidence, and certainty, the strong will, and to have a severe and so, for example, when someone, let's say if someone insulted another person, or if someone, they did something to another person, and the retaliation of that person, say, with justice, was like severe and strong, and the people would recognize that, and they would, let's say, want to avoid, let's say, doing injustice to that person because they know that the response from the one who was done injustice to would be serious or severe. So the prophets were given that as well. That their response to injustice, of course within the religious bounds, within what's befitting of them, was serious and severe. And also, they were granted a lot of patience. And they were granted a sharp mind, so they were above average intelligence. And they were granted besides intelligence, but a smart heart. And they were granted eloquence and articulation. And they were granted, for example, for their words to sit well in the ears. And anything that is, and etc. Anything that, the things that a human being considers to be the ideal, or what is the most suitable for the senses of the human being, the prophets, they were granted that. They were the highest degree and the best of all men, and they were the best men of their people, of their tribe. And for example, they were the ones who were the most pleasing to the eye and to the ear. So for example, you see someone, they're pleasing to the eye, or you hear someone speak, they're pleasing to the ear, amongst the regular people. The prophets, they had the best of that. They were the best of that. And the one who was the best among them is our Master Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. The one who Allah Ta'ala created him to be the best, the most pure, the most God-fearing, and the furthest of them from every imperfection and defect. To the extent that the Prophet ﷺ was the decoration of the session amongst his people, and the one that they used to refer to in judgments, and the one who was known for his generosity, and the one who was known for his integrity, and also the one who was known as trustworthy among them, to the extent that they confided their secrets in him, and he was not called among them or named among them except as the trustworthy, truthful one, alayhi salatu wassalam. Now the scholars, they spoke about the perfection of the prophets in detail and explicitly. Among that is what the great Imam Al-Hafiz An-Nawawi, he said in his explanation of the Sahih Muslim, when in the hadith that's talking about Al-Imam An-Nawawi radiyallahu anhu, he praised the prophets and explained about them that they are all free from defect in their body and in their character, and they don't have any physical defects. Rather, Allah Ta'ala created them without any physical defects, and he cleared them of having any physical defects. So the Al-Imam An-Nawawi, he mentioned this after he mentioned a story that happened with Prophet Musa alayhi salam. So basically, the story was that the Israelites, they used to bathe naked. The children of Israel, they used to bathe naked. So they used to look at each other's private parts, basically. The children of Israel. And the regular Muslims amongst the children of Israel, they used to look at each other's private parts. And Prophet Musa alayhi salam obviously would bathe with his clothes on. Yani he would not show his unlawful nakedness in front of them. Don't put that. He would not show his unlawful nakedness in front of them. So some of them, and they blasphemed, some of the children of Israel, they blasphemed. And they accused Prophet Musa alayhi salam that he didn't show his unlawful nakedness because he had a defect in his private parts. So they blasphemed by that, basically a sickness that affects the scrotum, which makes it enlarged and makes it big, like it inflames the scrotum. So it's a disease that the scrotum inflates from it. And of course that's something that's not befitting of a prophet. A prophet would not have that. So some of the children of Israel, they blasphemed and they accused Prophet Musa alayhi salam of that. And they were saying the reason he doesn't take his clothes off when he bathes is because he has that disease. And so one time Prophet Musa, and this story, this is a confirmed hadith, it doesn't contain anything non-befitting for a prophet, and this is how it happened. And Prophet Musa alayhi salam, obviously he did not do anything wrong, he did not do anything on purpose for them to see his body. But basically, Prophet Musa alayhi salam, he went to bathe, and so in seclusion, not around anyone. And he put his clothes on a rock. But so then the rock ran away with his clothes. The stone, Allah Ta'ala made the stone run away with his clothes. And so our Master Musa alayhi salam, and he chased the stone to get his clothes. And until he got to, he was chasing it until, and it was the case that the children of Israel, they saw Prophet Musa alayhi salam. And they said, Wallahi, there's nothing wrong with Musa. And so then the rock stopped. And so he took his clothes and he struck the rock. Prophet Musa alayhi salam struck the rock 6 or 7 times. So among the benefits of this hadith is what Al-Qadi Iyad mentioned, is that all of the prophets, they are free from physical defects in their body and in their characteristics. And so there's defective about them. They saw that there was nothing wrong with his body. They saw that there was nothing wrong with his body. And of course, Prophet Musa alayhi salam, he did not intentionally appear in front of them without clothing. No. Allah Ta'ala revealed in the Quran to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam verses that they show and they prove that the prophets, that they have a high status and that their status is in line with the path that they were sent to walk on, which is the path of al-Islam and teaching al-Islam, and to be patient upon what they face from the people that they're sent to, the things that they're harmed with by those that reject them, by those that mock them, by the enemies of al-Islam. But the prophets, they're patient in facing all those hardships, in spreading al-Islam. And so they are slow to anger. They have a lot of patience. And they went through a lot of things, out of obedience to Allah and out of spreading al-Islam. As for some of those who have corrupt hearts, and some of those who they were not precise in their gathering of information and spreading of information, among the later so-called scholars, the shaitan has opened up a vast door for them to mention things that are not confirmed, they're not authentic narrations, but things that are like stories or certain words, certain terms that basically were said by the Jews, by the people who they went astray after Prophet Musa alayhi salam. And those Jews, the children of Israel who went astray after Prophet Musa alayhi salam, they are among the most severe people who hate the prophets. And they're among the people who hate the prophets the most. And they are among the people who belittle the prophets the most. And they are among the people who blaspheme in the prophets the most. And they are among the people who murder the prophets the most. And other than the Jews, and the children of Israel who went astray after Prophet Musa alayhi salam, other than them, amongst the misguided people, like the philosophers and the idol worshippers and those who disbelieve in Allah and His angels and His books and His prophets and in the final day, these people, they also promote them and help them and open doors for them. So when the shaitan opened this door for some of those people with corrupt hearts, they got pulled to or persuaded to pervert and insert things that are not correct, things that are blasphemy, into the narratives and the stories of the prophets. So there is a sort of infiltration. Certain stories that were told by the Jews, some people who are amongst the so-called later scholars, they narrated those stories, which are blasphemous stories. And so those so-called later scholars, they involved themselves in something that was beyond their expertise and was beyond their field. And so they fell into misguidance. And so they misguided, and they themselves were misguided, and they misguided others. Allah Ta'ala did not give them the ability. Allah Ta'ala did not guide them. Allah Ta'ala did not give them the ability to do good. And so the one who follows the speech of the Prophet ﷺ, this would be the remedy that cures him, this would be the remedy that saves him and protects him from the poison of what was inserted by some people. The Prophet ﷺ, he said, لا يؤمن أحدكم حتى يكون هواه تبعا لما جئت به. And the one among you, he will not be a perfect Muslim until his desires align with what the Prophet ﷺ came with. So just as we don't exaggerate about the prophets and we don't attribute to them something that is beyond their status. Also, we do not go to the other extreme, and we do not attribute to the Prophet something that does not befit them. And Allah Ta'ala knows best. I'll go deeper into that subject in the next class. And so all that was like an introduction. And then next class we'll start with the first section, which is showing the status of prophethood and its honored status in more detail. And he talk about the meaning of prophethood and what it means. We'll mention that prophethood is not given to a non-Muslim ever. We'll mention that prophethood, and being a prophet that's not a messenger, is specific to men and to human men. We'll mention the difference between a prophet and a messenger. We'll mention that miracles are the way to identify the prophets. And we're going into details about the prophets. And so some of it is information that you've heard before, so it'll be like a review, and some of it is information that these certain stories that we're going to warn against. If you never heard them, then you would be warned against them before you hear them, and if you heard them before, then you would know that they're misguided. And Allah Ta'ala knows best. Are there any questions about anything that we mentioned so far? طيب. نهلل لا إله إلا الله اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم رب اغفر لي وللمؤمنين والمؤمنات بارك الله فيكم السلام عليكم